am your uncle. Ati Mama to battle me no ninja to. Sawa braso jerempo. Hey, why am I chifo? And I'm I am your uncle. Ati
Many no metia obibia na oba na wahye dwumadi no amame na eye Africa
Mama to battle me no ninja to. Sawa braso jerempo. Hey, why am I chifo? And I'm I am your uncle. Ati Mama to battle me no ninja to. Sawa braso jerempo. Hey, why am I chifo? And I'm I am your uncle. Ati
na meka chairman.
Yahu sawe ma wogana.
Akwanya yesi. Schools are yesi.
What more dia wan bobo ni ti ye pamo ya.
Woni medjuma.
Ya ba the pamo bio.
Yet is the class where come there.
Ya ma kwai e be say oban and this e do ochina.
Anka me na me yanka me ye ni say.
Ya ma kwai sa kwai ni oban.
Me na meka chairman.
Yahu sawe ma wogana.
Akwanya yesi. Schools are yesi.
What more dia wan bobo ni ti ye pamo ya.
Woni medjuma.
Ya ba the pamo bio.
Yet is the class where come there.
Ya ma kwai e be say oban and this e do ochina.
Anka me na me yanka me ye ni say.
Ya ma kwai sa kwai ni oban.
Me na meka chairman.
Yahu sawe ma wogana.
Akwanya yesi. Schools are yesi.
What more dia wan bobo ni ti ye pamo ya.
Woni medjuma.
Ya ba the pamo bio.
Yet is the class where come there.
Yeah, Mao Quine and the say of mine and this and your china.
Anka me na me yi anka me ye ni say.
Yeah, Mao Quine, Sakwan.
Na meka kyerɛ me.
Yahoo, somewhere to my Ghana.
Akwan a yesiesie. Schools a yesi.
What more dear one more than your pamo, ya.
Woni medjuma.
Yeah, by the pamo,
Yet is sika so come there.
yeah, Mao Quine and the say of mine and this and your china.
Anka me na me yi anka me ye ni say.
Yeah, Mao Quine, Sakwan.
Well, that's like telling the whole history of the last decade. I think principally what has happened was that the message that we took to the country, the message that the time had come for us to change the direction, the policies, as well as the people who are in charge of the country. That message, I think, has had a very strong response from the Ghanaian people, to the extent that when you put together all of those who stood on the message that there was a need to change the ruling party's hold on power, have together arrived at something like 55 to 56% of the electorate, the registered electorate, those who voted on the day. This is a major shift. It's like almost like an earthquake. If you remember that in 1996, President Rawlings won 57% of the vote on the first round, and that his successor, the leader of the NDC, has won barely 45%. That the NDC went into parliament with went into the elections holding on to 133 seats, and are today 92 in the parliament. We were 61 at the beginning of this thing and are now 99, and almost certainly will be 100 by the time the new parliament is fully made up. And the other figures of the opposition have also an extra 4 seats. We see that a parliament that was dominated by the ruling party is now dominated by the political forces in opposition to it. I think the fundamental thing that has happened is that the Ghanaian people have expressed their desire, their wish to see a new deal in Ghana, to have a new beginning, to have a new administration, and to have new people running the affairs of the country. That was essentially the theme of our debate, or the theme of our election, as against the response of the ruling party. Initially it was continuity. It became something change in continuity. At some stage or another it changed yet again. I hear even the propaganda secretary of the NDC was talking at one stage about also they standing for positive change. You could see that in the course of the debate, of the campaign, the ruling party's own position having to shift, because it became absolutely clear that despite all the propaganda, despite what we have been told by foreign commentators, what we have been told by the ruling party itself, that the economic progress that we had all sought had not in fact taken place, that the mass of the people had not had that improvement in their lives that the propaganda suggested they should have had. And that ultimately is the matter that they responded to, that yes, there was a need for a new direction, because what had happened before had not worked.
Let me see what John, you don't share that, do you?
Certainly not. Well, I wouldn't say that the seats that MPP have won are just because their message went down well. I think that part of the seats they have got are seats that they have gained by default. Certainly we realize that we made mistakes in some constituencies, and that have cost us those seats. There are at least 8 clear constituencies that we shouldn't have lost under no circumstances. But certainly because of the kinds of candidates that we put there, that probably cost us the election.
That the people didn't want these candidates.
The people didn't want these candidates, and they protested quite strongly.
And yet,
and
yet you insisted on keeping them.
Yeah, that's the point. What happened was a certain process. It's not as if it happened just anyhow. What happened was a process was put in place to identify candidates who should stand in the constituencies. Now, that process involved administering a questionnaire to the constituency executive and then to the leadership of the party in parliament to assess an incumbent MP's performance, both in the constituency and in parliament. And based on the results that came from this questionnaire, it went to the National Executive Committee, and the National Executive Committee decided whether to retain a member of parliament or not to retain. This was done quite objectively, but you would find that probably in some cases the constituency executives had not been too objective in filling out those forms. And so ultimately the kind of information that came up to the National Executive Committee was not a correct assessment of the candidate. Yeah. And so it's just in passing, at least 8 constituencies we just threw away by the kinds of candidates that we put there. A lot of people who probably ended up voting for other parties didn't vote for them because they really liked their message. They did because they were aggrieved about one thing or the other to do with the NDC. But let me say that with regards to Nana's comment about the economy, we went into these elections without any illusions that it was going to be a difficult election. Certainly the economy...
Why were you so sure?
Because of the economic circumstances that were prevailing from about the middle of 1999 till now. The economy has not been very favorable, and economic circumstances have been tight. The CD lost value quite rapidly from 2007 to about 6,500. And so the economic circumstances were not the best. And so going into this election, we knew that it was going to be difficult. And certainly these other parties exploited it to the fullest advantage.
They have benefited from it.
They have, I think so. And so in the event, I think that the party even did well that they could not win a first-round victory, that we forced them into a runoff. I think that is an evidence of the resilience of the NDC, that even then, in the adverse economic circumstances we faced, coupled with some of the mistakes we made, they still couldn't win a first-round victory.
Given that these circumstances you referred to are not about to change immediately, what do you think will happen with the presidential runoff?
Well, we have taken some corrective measures since the election took place, and that's why there's a bit of quiet on our front. After the elections, what we did was to analyze the results and make a self-criticism and assessment of what had really gone wrong. And we have done that in all objectivity and truthfulness. And we are taking corrective measures to rectify some of the things that we didn't do very right. And I think that that is happening. And a lot of people who drifted from the party and voted for other parties or didn't go to vote at all, are coming and saying that, look, we didn't come out to vote, or we
Ene Ghana, to be precise. Ayana Mereho, Emo Omaino. Tembia, ye did near maybe much ya, me who is as a yentiasi and answer ye. A year, a dear bad, and a year behind a year, a Gina Ghana and as African chia, my economy, Abribian Ebafum. And yatim did a year, se Ubesuya, Adibia, wadrin so, now between drinks so. Ya ye de desan from the Sante, a banwe, babanwe, Nansu nipa na nkasa me hu ne se yemfa ya adwene enyina eniema bi mo so ehu ne se ye ya ebeboaye eya na ya rewosem politics democracy politics enoa eneye behind eye memfa ne se ade a ema yentimi ntumpon ye na adwene sa ade we hu a wanhwe abeka se da bi ntesa na emominu ye tesa politics efidie bad politics originated from a Greek word politica, affairs of the people. Eye adea nipakuo bi a omahia akuakuo omahia na omode omo adwene ebekọ benkurum na omaya ade na menua saa ade we yedibu oman eye yatikuo NPP yatikuo eye NDC yatikuo eye CPP say ye pese yede eye ye share ye views na yedibu oman kese te say oman bi te say Ghana a yen develop ye yenyansi development kwan so ehwehwe animu ayesem ni kokuti na eye ene adwene ye say ye like on the verge of developing. No, yenye on the verge of developing. Enti ade a etwe eye Africa esign the chi politics nti na meka saa wobɛhu sɛ ɛyɛ NDC foɔ ni agye a na ɛyɛ NPP foɔ a ɔmo ɛyɛ a section of a group na ɔmo faili na ama NDC ani agye saa nso na wobɛhu sɛ ɛyɛ NPP foɔ ni agye a na NDC foɔ power na ɔmo faili na NPP ani agye so vice versa ɛte sɛ NPP ɔmo yɛ the enemy of the state when they are in opposition same as NDC ɔmo yɛ the enemy of the state when they are in opposition esan say nipa na ɔno wɔ opposition no ɔno no mpɛ sɛ deɛ ɔno really no ɔbɛ successful na ɔman a wo unyan develop yɛ afɛ na wo ba besi saa kwan no so wo bɔtrɔtrɔ o saa ɔman wei wakɔ akɔfa ɛyɛ saa politics ade a wonte aseɛ yɛ de aba bɛhyɛ wo kom o saa ɔman wei o se wo pɛ sɛ wo develop na ɔbɛde no wo develop me bisa question clearly I show say obi a ɛyɛ ɔyɛ NPP ni bia a ɔwɔ opposition no ɔno man no they only love the country when they are in power ɛyɛ saa nso na ɛyɛ NDC ɛkyɛ NDC ɛnɔ ɔman no NDC bɛdɔ ɔman na NDC foɔ aba power ansɔma dɔ ɔman no NDC kɔ opposition a ɔyɛ the enemy of ɛyɛ Ghana man saa nso na NPP so kɔ opposition a ɔno so ɛyɛ Ghana tamfo esan sɛ the NDC wɔ aban mu obɛyɛ bia ɛde mpuntuo bi bɛba no na ɔtwe ɛyɛ wei ɛfɛ ne sɛ NDC foɔ san ɔwɔ bad energy ɛma NDC sɛ NDC wɔ power ɔpɛ sɛ NDC foɔ faili saa nso na ɛyɛ NPP so ɛwɔ aman mu a NDC so pɛ sɛ ɛyɛ ɔman efeli na sɛ ɛbɛyɛ a ɔbɛba power minua saa deɛ wei yɛde kyekyere ɔman sɛ wo kyekyere ɔman a wɔho ɛnte sɛ ɛyɛ wei memfa ne sɛ Accra so folk any Asante Kotoko running dabi hwɛ ma me ma clear example wa bra ɛyɛ wei Ghana Accra so folk etimi gina Ghana man mu Ghana nan mu etimi winning ɛyɛ Champions League any Confederations Cup ɛma ɛyɛ wei Ghana no wouldn't you see it for 6 consecutive seasons na Accra so folk omun change ɛyɛ omu coach Cecil Jones Atiko Field omun change no BBC by default into oman change ɛyɛ saa way coach no players no so esan say there was something AC ade bi AC ɛwɔ Ghana football mu ɛma ɛyɛ by way default no no omuntimi nton players no omuntimi egrumi players na ɛma team bonding unity the love cohesion bibibia come together no omuntimi yɛ the winning the Champions League and the Confederations Cup enti ɛnyɛ by magic ɛnyɛ by fluke and ofiti ya so pese ebia o team bi I'm using team here to represent politics American wasemi me pese me kire say wo the NDC ma we Ghana wo di gina Ghana and Ghana nan mu say NDC for power na NDC woman no some limited time 4 years woman 8 years now say NDC emfa emma oman a endevelop ye onfa hye oman no niema emma oman ni develop aminia you are just tickling yourself and I was sere unu no ho na wonko awate wo na wo sere na wani age I'm telling you it won't work hwe wo the NPP wo the Ghana ma NPP na wakache NPP say woman limited time woman 4 years woman 8 years na onsiesie oman a ya pratete oman a yenyansi development kwan so afi na ye wi aye botrotro wo se woman saa time we onfa mra mema oman no enyeye na wani nti minua enyeye wonim de nti a esan say oman no yehia enkabo mu yehia unity enye ebia yemfa we mra he oman no opa ya yeye dede no yemfa obi amra yemfa oman ne ma Captain Smart yemma ne party a neutral party yemfa oman ne ma I'm telling you obeba bebo no within some few years 3 years to come 2 years to come obebo no man nkontimba na ade be chesi no aman muo no enye the way as muhunu no mo de otan disunity among yourselves yatiti kuo me NPP me NDC and what omo botaye ne say what are their aims omo aim ne say baako wo power NDC wo power me sisu biem NPP botaye ni na ne say we NDC fo efeli kwan bia so NPP fo be winchine botoma ama NDC afeli no o man feli totally abysmally NDC feli no oba power and this NDC for power and yema bi an kakra so omototo ema oman ye no na NPP for eye oman tamfo a omo fight omo bad energies omo exert edit to NDC aman so amanko no so say be ya NDC for be feeling no NPP aba power and you are telling me say ye the sadie way and chichire oman wo de eye way oman ma NPP a na NDC for so share chire na omo so exert bad energies say be ya NPP be feeling no omo so aba power and no person tell me say ye the sadie way and chichire oman a ye pese ye pagya mu ye da bi enye ye abrofo no omo chichire omo man ni wie ye answer the introduction of with democracy anyway politics or abrofo no enye sadie way no omo sha ase because minia I'm telling you commonsensically logically say me krompo me say me NDC ni a na say NPP for power do you think say wo minia na wo hwe me no wa kanekre say ntu pese o ka kire me say eye we samejamfi ene ye papa mahama nti omo mpaye omo ma eye we omo wish Ghana good omo wish eye we NPP for good na eye NPP enye successful now tell me if NPP become successful ebeye den na NDC etima ba power tell me enti wona wo hwɛ me a obuafu ho no eye saa na nka wo so beye enti mpesa me kyerɛ sɛ ye mfa we ntikyerɛ oman eye saa so na eye papa mahama NDC ene omo power wo pɛ sɛ ɔkyerɛ me sɛ nti abronye ene nana adomo ebetena sɛ ye boy ensam ye wish eye NDC all the good omens NDC in family successful na oman ntumpon I'm telling you enye ye omo be wish NDC bad say be ya NDC ebe fairly woefully na eye omo NPP I take that advantage na eye omo ba power by just having that mind na da wotiri mu no esan say plan bibi bia ma oman no eye adwene boni bi na da wotiri minia we mfeli na memra saa so na o say the 2 minima wa oba be feli enti dia ba de na esenke campaign for the solution na dia ba dia ese ye the politics eto nchen ese oman we Ghana opese ye tumpon wa Ghana ko nanima ese oman we ye kan hu bom oman we enye oman ya ye de ntitimu ebetimi aye bibia ma oman na ye oman we enye oman a ubetimi dia sha ye Kofi Kuranten sa se Kofi Kuranten ya ma neutral party na ono ba be Ghana better I'm telling you eye we Mr. Kofi Kuranten or ba as ye papa Akufo-Addo did the message by na the same thing hwe nsesa or ba te say ye papa Mahama e the message by na ye di enkonti ma ni nua edi omachi sa na ye di bedi nachi I am telling you said the black man single-handedly yentimi mfa a power and ma party ba ko pe na with politics or mine entimi ma me develop anything na me a African as a whole African countries are the politics and run ye hwe de wa o man si air suffer hwe de wa man si air tete air high wakwa kasa a enye okro mu kasa ya tire speech e de ama eye we obi ya tire speech nipa na ono a tire speech ne de ma president na kenkan no ono ankasa no onte de wa tire na se excuse me wa tire bibia to onom ene ono awe ne baba ene ono kan tire president no wa tire ama no ena president ndi onom ena ujun onom awi o se oh ya onte hwe ase policies na ono ahyehyɛ enhyehyɛ na ono ahyehyɛ de ama omanpanyin se onkenkan no ono ankasa no ɔtwerɛ ye no onte ase kasa no nyɛ ye kasa yempa ye kasa wo sɔre a wo se ya de fa ahodie freedom wo te freedom ase obi a wo se wa de fa ahodie wo mount stage wo declare wo ma message wo ma wo speech na wo de nipa na wo se wa liberate ho free no ho no ono ne kasa e na wo ka e wo stage no so ono ne kasa e na wo de kan say majefa ahudie ama me man Ghana na efri na ekọ bibini na kasa betimi aye ono ane ntotoye obetimi ahyehyɛ ono ane niema wo kan we ya obi asabi onkodwene nkọ akire nipa na dwene be o say eh saa nipa na wo kan no I'm telling you wo wajefa ahudie did you plan before o person na wo je saa fa ahudie no one plan it one hyehyɛ eno ase odi mirika majefa ahudie ojefa ahudie no what is the way forward and where are we now? Se adie bi wona se wontimi nya wo ho hwe ma me kan no kura bi the painful truth is bibini bie no anoma as we speak say the politics ye adwuma obetimi aye Ghana ama Ghana aye sa de opese si ye no enti we automatically esenka oman na kasa abibiman ye san de hyemrofo ne nsa de now from oppressors no yes you are oppressors fa sha o monsa esan say ade na kasa esa wo ye ema oman ni tumpon no ontimi enye hwe ma me kan de bi nkyerɛ you say you fa eye we kasa a ye ka minister na ono ya twere speech ama ne se onko kan ne ya twere asem de ama no minister ne be kan de no brofo awie ka kire minister ne se oye Evenia oye Asantinia oye Nkrania oye Nordna sa kasa brofo kasa no on translate on famra ni krom kasa mu line by line na hwa de so obetumi a onte de wa twere na se o se obeden wa execute sa de we ama ne mpatam wonom atumpon me ka no krabi na ate ominua hwe ye the politics eye adwuma it's so sad. It's so sad say obekona ye platform, social media platforms. Ghana for nyaje, particularly memfansa now no NDC for money nyaje adentia. Ghana ko IMF, International Monetary Fund, omo ko honom into money nyaje ye bose ye we partner in power no or ko akwa or ko bobosianas or ko borrow money ama we economy no I stabilize. Minia or sit na nyaje isan say ninia na ko nti wa faili obewene sanso na nka NDC for na power ebra no mo power no sanso no mo so ko IMF we na MPP for bo se bonchemku bo se tu kromu minia me ntia se me kasa ma party bi mania bri too much enye sa nipa bi no ma we some of the guys on social media na omo de omo yafunu any tribalism nti omo kasa ma na omo ye propaganda ema either NPP or NDC. No, I'm not part of them. Me the love of the country. American so American flag in so fana or bet try so best swim for American flag. But Ghana, nas Ghana flag in so fana. The Ghanaian will choose to swim to to save either the political party, the flag, NPP or NDC. This is where this is how far we have come. Or time any Jimmy any diafra in ye munim papa imu here for so so any diafra or my way ye or my do a stage of politics. Yenya omaya yadu a state of entity mu ninti ni nuane yade opeso ofeli NDC wo power ko IMF na MPP bosse omani age eyare wo se mame sanso na MPP wo power omoko IMF NDC ani age enti meaning say automatically say NDC wo power NPP fo eye oman atamfo omo se ye mo tumi omo opposition omani asoja kumo ye mo mame tumi na memra mo mame tumi se sa nipa no wo di tumi ni mana ote wonom no oye oman ne tamfo ompese oman ne be konkan adentia eye ninua we NPP ne power into ono NDC no or ne mpai body na ne susue na ne tirimpo na ne say NPP mfeli sanso na NPP enso opposition na NDC wo power ne tirimpo cheku setie ne yekumo opese NDC efeli na ono so ba power na menua saade we ye de chichire oman automatically politics enya ade Africa ye duru honom politics enya ade a ye betimi da hye yaman ese ye de politics eto nten na NDC NPP said ye eya NPP ewo power NDC 41 say omo ewo botaye nsusuye bi omo ba omo betima ma oman de ye no ade na nka with exclusion of we politics sa nipa ko ye nka omo mbom na omo fo omo tiri mo ponsusuye papa no omo mfa nye oman ni ye sa so na NPP score position NDC so ba power NPP for say moma yamra na ye won sisi ye pa ye betimi ma oman na ye ade na menua no mesremo ye masa we parties mi ani omonka omutiri embomu esanse ye se prayo ho yi ba ko ebu ukaboma emu humani suma minti na atwe mienu nam menua esen kasa ne me we ni ye preachi enye yi mu ne ntitimu awrewosem I am in a state of melancholy aburo so krampo minya another weather and another adjective and kam ne be so onom esanse o hwe de wa bi mani age adenti ya the youth awrewosem we have all joined the train of politics. Either your NDC and your NPP. The same way. Esenka ye preach for. Sanya mana ye hu se enya dia ye esefata. Ye support we envie nkosi ba bia. Opa me yemfa Ghana ni bia mra. Ye ma ne neutral party ye de ma ebe chesi no. Enye sa ye nyanduro ye nyahu ye problems no dabi all the politics wo pese o develop one ka kire wo na wo wadwen o se me NDC ni ana me MPP ni for instance wo kusi twen asema ye nuane ka na ye no anu no ye start dwumadie no na nipa dom bebrebe na ehwe but esan say na ebinum tirimu pone say bia me ba be kasa ama in favor of either NPP ana NDC enti na omani agi bebre na wo ye de we titire oman What one man? This is what we deserve. Say young and penifon so the bay. Aye Jiminy Kwasiasam ye dear diafra. Or mine muni panoju to Nakasa social media, the Panagasa was no. Jimmy or Makasa, they are even corrupt than leaders. No, ye from us all corrupt. No. Anytime a corporate division, a free 1992 till date, and to now Munyasa say, and ye NDC and MPP. Nemo na set na you find the true cause of the problem. What it one the Ghana ni benyane say obekọ we platform na obi DMPP for atem and amoya mo na Jimmy na Jimmy san kwasiasam na Ghana ni patie. The Ghana ni patie so obekọ na obi DNDC for atem na nya gisa na ohu de onye ne ho. Se wo what one party we nipa ba ko oman Ghana wo wonrum pempen so a wo sa oman we ye try say enka politics enka ye betimi de bu oman ye nduru sa level no. But Ghana ni ade Ghana ni empe Ghana ni etiwade ene adesua Ghana ni etiwade ene unity Ghana ni etiwade ene say who preach for peace Ghana ni etiwade ene say who identify the real problem no ama no hypothesis na nipa ahunu the solution no Ghana ni mpe the Ghana ni nipa ye Jimmy e beboro so entokwa ne ntitimu sanka mba betena say sara na wade ne yo me metena mra me di MPP atam anan DC atam na wunim nyansa say sa da bia wo de kodina we yachi ni e DNPP atama ni e yi o mafido ni e DNDC aba ni e be DNDC for so atama so automatically me can sem bia to arewo sem say sa dia we the dangerous thing for Ghana's economy now is to say 2024 ye be NPP free so ni e NDC aba. I'm telling you wouldn't be entia NDC for power ade NDC for ba be catch Ghana for nyane say MPP for disika ni na kapre ni wo enunti na oman na omba bebu no omuntimi mu no we uhia common sense and ade ehunu we you don't need any nyansa bi kase bi amono so ba bibini hunu sa de we di ehun so ne say the same thing o ka se mawie mimini asa me kasa ma party bi sa so ne say dangerous say obesan live eye Ghana man amamuo we esa de ma NPP for so omonto aso eye dangerous esan say oman omuntimi manage oman ni ye na wasan di oman na san ma ne say on sign to aso biem wodi de ntia esan say ono nko ano ontimi wansa maka say mienu wa say pesa me kire o say NDC oba power eye dangerous highly dangerous Emma Ghana because the same repetition na be san ye say the NPP for ba beje baton free omunsama omo kire say ye beje baton no e na ama we ye friend say amamuo no NDC for na anye ne ye omo na ntutu niema master abi before the yadu no form sir ye story abeko social media nipa no gbagbagba as a Ghana ni nko na nim nyasa da ne tirim but ade ye simple thing na da ho a repeating ho ano bibini nya hunu sa ade we wonim say ye dangerous say ye de we Ghana ebe se particularly ye papa Mahama ye be me papa Mahama within just 4 years now the football club within 4 years yes on family fix economy na yesu say economy no MPP for say no ye de ba be ma ye papa Mahama NDC say omna me for 4 years penye ya dwene nya adwuma wo hu sa so na ye risky ye dangerous say ye de o man ne ba be say MPP for sam biem ni aka say MPP for mo sa nya to aso he ne ye kono pesa me kire wade ba bia me ka ba be sini say adise sam kuo mienu we MPP ni NDC ye ka omo bom na omo ensusuye ni nimdie kakra we wo no omo mienu na ka bom na fe de ye de politics no to baabi na omo kekere oman no adise asa jimi ade na ye ti social media ye na NDC oni adi omatama ni adi MPP aba ni adi omatama ni akofa wi aba masa what are you talking about adi bibini adi ehia adi ensem fata adi yimu ne papai mu no kuna kasa da won my senka before you to preaching no we social media no or pay views or pay fame or pay we e me fan say sika we social media platforms or pay ni monyam enti no kuna da no on kan ya kura ni nia na all share no be hu say no sabe we ya repeat sabe mistakes ya bibini mpesa de na tie ade bibini petia senka ba betena say na kama di MPP for mpani for tema obe bananka ni pe gusu die say chocho Jimmy sa na wo itirim ombe bananka bia mafa NDC for mpani for atoa na kama di wo matama obe bananka ni pa yesumma ya yale ya bopo adam. I'm telling you opa me nkonkofa Captain Smart opa social media any youth or campaign or you fix the country or you part of us or every Ghanaian is part of fixing the country Opa, Yankofa of Firewo, Yankofa, He David, Yankofa Maya, Trini Jonas, Captain Smart, Yankofa, Katia Fifa, Yanfa Ghana, Mamwood, and Shamosa. Sankrofo ya support mu ye be sa de man kotima na libeti esi omo because problem na da on unnim problem no also person solve. What are you talking about? Problem na da on unhu ye also me solve. The solution here there ya cover third force. You see just a cheap talk who cover third force. What do you say third force no ba? Dear system no ba be operate through. The same constitution, democratic governance. And yet this same politics and as our third force never become. So tell me, what are you talking about? Crime best na say the power be so be successful. And the problem can take away don't be before Ghana for particularly. Ye hunu ye. The bia pet be ba. Ye be di wo matama me kasa na be say me say NPP alone or NDC alone ain't me fix Ghana. What the Ghana ma NPP to us what? A risk, a dangerous Emma or minor. Sounds as a we you floor the NDC for so bad. A sign your risk, a sign a dangerous Emma or minor. So what is the solution? What is the solution, Minia? The solution is peace and unity. The solution is unity. Yama sanctity NDC Bayer, MPP Bayer, NDC Bayer, MPP Bayer, NDC Bayer, MPP Bayer. How many years here since 92 till date? You go to the same thing. Now you sign, Master. What is this? Ayana media we say a nipa mpe create simple mathematics that all nipa se me hu ye enti hu ne say Ghana ye di MPP for atem no NDC for ba eye sa ne ba be di omo so atem ne ye say kofa MPP ase ba biem ne ye be di omo atem ye di neutral party ba ono so sa ye ba be di natem na where are we heading to ehe ne yakọ ye nimba bi yakọ we are lost. We just do our things like a headless chicken. Sada bibiniti here, yadre no emu no ye go deep. And the danger for Ghana is any person who rise to speak, the moment obeye ni pakuo kakra bia, ombe support no, ombe hwe no, automatically that person becomes spontaneous, intelligent personality. And a big mistake ayeye. Automatically Ghana ni mami ye na wo se nipa bi kasa na nipa dom kakra bi nya gine tuma na tese automatically say nipa ni tese oye onim oye nyasa force ni obia wo wiase enti say nipa no beka bia no nipa ni ntimi nwene ho enso ne so de obeka bia yes na wafa eno ene ye nde. No wonder uko social media you see what is going on. A youth nipa da sani timi trase also obi na waba na me ameka say Bismarck is the youth president, or Bismarck can become a better president than Nana Akufo-Addo or Mr. Mahama. You are sick. You don't know what you're talking about. You do not want more Wakasano. Politics, democracy, constitution, besides the first preamble of even the constitution, no. There's difference between wisdom and knowledge. Oko politics, man. It requires more practical things now. Theoretical things, no. You adapt and you operate with it. And you will not what among one or honor, yet this is a to a constitution. This is say, ultimately for Nyansan, they say it will go against the law. We need to think, we need to rise up, think deeply. Before we are just like too much myopic. Ya didn't get problem with the whole that you ye gusu ye the same thing. Ye ya me yano no ye DNDC atema na ye de omaba ni ya be fan BP so aba ni ye di omatem ni ye we afiri wo ni akofa wi aba ye nim ye problem na enti ni ye so fa no o power me MPP ni no me mompa na wo NDC ni ye successful na sa ye successful na me ntino opposition sa. What are you telling me? Ade ameya answer me fight against you. Se me won susu ye papa bi mpo na metimi e de aka wo ho na se why or mine is successful e san me selfish interest, me selfish ambition ti me mfa nka ho me san twe wasan na what do you say the way etitire o mine san so na me NDC ni a wo MPP wo power. What do you say me monpa man now yes successful when e catch us ah? Who told you? Enti eye obia we hye ni nua eye bad omen na wo the way etitire o mine. The youth do not join this politics. Politica, don't join it. What it? Open so mine area successful. ɛyɛ nkampo mu unity na esi preachi and yet I hear certain stories. We are tired of NPP. We are tired of NDC. A neutral party. Master, I need somebody on this debate. You are tired of NDC, tired of NPP. You need a neutral party. The neutral party now Orban. Say any pana Orban. Or any politics now Obabe joining. Any the same democracy no Obabe under. Or any po free space neighbor. Or you an alien. Excuse me. Adi any pana ye no also one penno. Adi NDC ya also one penno. Adi MPP ya also one penno. Nipa ne ba the same constitution and or they babe govern kruno. The same politics and or they babe joining. Intiminia. There is nothing special. Bet mama say nipa ne babe successful. Me say I'm telling you, with way democracy or with politics, African Ghana, minia to our dream neda. Wate to our dream neda. To see NBC no. NPP for Omo fairly NDC for see more power. Omo ne betimi be o man ye power no ye de ba ma omo ye de ma omo within some few years san krofo ya be sen soja ne asan fa ma asan de egu NDC for so NPP for so ba san so na be ye be sen fa ma na chese I don't know what the black man what na cassette say problems na e order da no eno na pesa o recycle no sa e repeating ho ekọ na aba sa na wonya de ai instead say ye be proper measures ye be the solution nankasa no ye mpe tem bia na ye te ho aya atem enya atem a aye wei de dada na che say ye nya hu ye problem no ye hu ye problem no say ye ntimi for politics ento nchen dia ene na ye mfa oman ensa emma eye mrofo no oh yes ye mfa oman ma mrofo no say ye ntumi dia oman no ye mfa emma emrofo no biem say ye ntumi enke hu mom ye ntumi nsuye nyansa anke hu mom na ebe ye politics we ohodoma we twe ne san na we aba na we ayi say minu ahwe ameka bibia kire another weight behind ye low economic growth de aba dia corruption hwe ye corrupt to the extent say opa me yenkonkofa previous NPP for empanifo yen hwe om account mu yen check obi account I'm telling you ebetumi atitire oman no it is more than the money ye ba ko borrow every IMF me na me ka kire wo hwe nana adudan kwakufu ado ono ankasa opa yenko ye odite nana ado yen check nana ado na account ni na nana ado oye richer than Ghana saa so na Papa Mahama hwe I'm telling you opa me yenko fa previous presidents for ni na ye Papa Mahama ye papa we friends ex sorry ye papa we Kofuo ex president yen konko check omu ni na accounts mu they are all richer than Ghana corruption adidi ye tirimu dodo hwe make president even some of the ministers sika omawiya free oman honum both NDC both NPP even MPP for omo we omo free aban mu dada. Some of the ministers are free abayimu dada. Some of the ministers are free abayimu dada. Ewo NDC. Opa me enkonko check your accounts mu. Omo ye richer than Ghana. Corruption na didi ye tirimu dodo. Abi before yankasa ye own enemies. And no wonder say social media it has escalated. Adentia NDC for any adjesa MPP ko MF. San MPP for so ye NDC so ko sa no mo tukrom ye omo ko hwe. I just don't understand myopic minds. Ya meaning kwankan ya dwena ka say wo form we think shallowly. Ya meaning go deep. Adwene ne nya adwuma amabodi ne bre. My message is Ghana politics enya de beboaye. Politics enya de beboaye. Me ye NDC ni a me ye MPP ni ne tamfo. What is the meaning of this? What is the sense in this? Sanso na me ye we MPP ni a NDC ni ye metamfo nyansa be na o sa de we mu kasa na kasa ye san kan ewo ye parliament won ye parliament won no kasa no ministers ni president na kasa no omonti ase ye ontimase opa speech no omoma no president no ministers ni kasa omoka no me omo kwan onka na eve onka na nwuna onka na sante onka na gan minia enka ensesan bi beba me kan kra na akire wo a word to a wise is enough enya atendidie Se obedi atem a wano so a wano so nse na aboa prako wate ena hwe hu se atem na wudie no suminia so obi kenya sasem wei na satam bia yempe eya atem didie kwase aboa nkwa na se wopa minia hwe hu se sa wo ye kurase ni a ye tetim kurasefo ni bia se wudi agrore ebe ho hwe ye ka asem ebe bo eye oman no unity Ghana amamuo no amamuo no dame se wote akire na se o hwe dame mu a ohunu mu ye pa nanso ye do ba betena dame no ho a na wani su biriw na ntasentase achew hwe football se wote akire na o hwe a na obi ya na eyesre se onya football entia na obi te akire na o ye analysis na ono anya slow motion na wa ya analysis enka ha se de enka ode fa ha enka bieye na enka ni se enka ode fa pass we na se ode ma we minia agro na wudi nipa no needs to think within a blink of an eye say o take decision o make decision wo wanya the benefit of the doubt ati akire hwe wadon yo se emre o connect kese esi adwe wo ho ya ya na akufo na akufo na adwen ye ne se eye goodness na ado adwen ye ne se eye papa mahama eye okoya na tikesie usi adwen ho we no na adwen ye ne se eye we eye me friend se eye granite intina emu emre hwe saa so ne papa mahama otenchen no na ado we adwen na adwen ye ne se adwen no eye donut hwe eye donut o betena ho na se disi wani ma ebebo ye papa Kofi Kranten here muni na me se enye wei eye individualistic enye politics eno mon starting preaching for peace mon preaching for unity eno ne betima wo man no ye develop me ka kire enye ade a mo ye no neutral party na we enkosi hwe wo ba ema na ye de buru NDC ne MPP no eno abi na ye besan de aburu eye ye ni the level of politics e betima build o man no amaye a word to a wise is enough.
Mama tu bato me num ninja tu. Sawa braso jerembo. Hey. Why am I clara chifo? And I'm I am your uncle. My uncle. Ati